everyone, this is your host Brittany, and welcome back to the second episode of the PCAT and Pre-Pharmacy podcast. Today we have a special guest who is a first-year dual PharmD MPH student. Today she will be sharing with us why she chose pharmacy, her experiences during her gap year, and of course tips for the application and PCAT process. So if that sounds good to you, stay tuned to catch all of those gems. But before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Crack the PCAT. Make sure to check out crackpcat.com for all of your exam prep needs. They have a range of simulated exams that includes comprehensive analysis report and video explanations. They also have video refresher series that covers a range of topics and over 2,000 PCAT style practice questions. So if you're in the market for good study materials, check out crackpcat.com. Now let's get started. Hi, Rudi. Thanks for joining us today on the PCAT Pre-Pharmacy podcast. Can you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm super, super honored to be one of the first guests. You already said my name. So I'm Rudi. I run a blog and Instagram page called Roots in the Pharmacy, where I just talk about my experience as a dual PharmD MPH student, just along the way, all the struggles, the highs and the lows.
Great. Now, the first question I want to ask you, well, I guess the second question is, what attracted you to the pharmacy profession?
Okay, so what attracted me was like a lot of things actually. So fun fact is I actually was pre-pharmacy in high school, and then I kind of like changed it around in college because the only thing I knew in high school was retail pharmacy. And I just wanted a little bit more because my HOSA instructor at the time, she was really pushing a lot of like clinical positions. And so I spent a lot of time shadowing in the hospital. And I even did an internship at a local children's hospital. And I knew for sure I wanted to be in a hospital setting. So I kind of like strayed away from pharmacy for a little bit in college, but it just kept coming back to me. And of course, like as I continued to do my own research, I found positions like transplant and infectious diseases and all that stuff. And I just kind of got really, really excited knowing that I could not only just combine like my love for medicine and, chemistry and medicinal chemistry and organic chemistry, but also put it in a role where I do make an impact on patients' lives every single day, stopping mistakes and medication errors, as well as just, being on the brink of developing new drugs and stuff. So I love the all encompassing thing of pharmacy, that it's not just one thing, it's really everything.
Definitely. That's interesting. We have a similar background. I'm guessing maybe everybody has an introduction to pharmacy by retail because that's the closest thing,
Yes.
everybody
Yep.
knows. And it's the Walgreens or CVS on every corner. So that would make me stray away from it as well for a little while.
Yes, 100%.
Because I knew that was something I did not want to do.
Yes.
But you said that information you got while you were in undergrad?
So I did. I would say yeah, because like what I knew, like I had heard of like maybe one clinical position when I was in high school, aside from retail pharmacy. It was just a clinical pharmacist I came across when I was interning at our local children's hospital, but I never got to talk to her. So I was just like, oh, maybe she just does something random, maybe she's a different kind of pharmacist. But yeah, in undergrad is when I started like finding transplant, infectious diseases, oncology, and I was just like, what?
Okay, well, to piggyback off that, we haven't gotten that far into the podcast just speaking about how the different journeys are to get into pharmacy, but you stated that you did undergrad, and for some people, you don't have to do a complete 4-year degree. So I want to ask, why did you decide to do, or maybe you didn't decide, it just kind of just happened. Why did you decide to go ahead with a 4-year degree instead of just doing the 2-year prerequisite requirement?
So I'm so glad that you said it kind of just happened, because honestly, it's kind of a mix for me. So being that I did mention how like I did kind of like come back to pharmacy, like the time that I came back to pharmacy was kind of around my last year and a half of college. So it actually made more sense for me to just continue on with my undergraduate degree. And at the same time, I also knew for sure I wanted to pursue also a dual degree program. So I majored in public health with a minor in chemistry. And unfortunately, to pursue a dual degree, specifically something like a master's of public health or, your PhD, you have to have complete your bachelor's. So I knew for sure that I did want to do a dual degree specifically with public health or some kind of global health, population health program, or even healthcare administration program alongside pharmacy. So it just made more sense for me to continue on and push through that last year and a half. So it's kind of like a timing thing, really. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know just from following you that you didn't go straight into pharmacy school once you graduated undergrad. Can you tell us some of the experiences you had during your gap
Yes.
year?
Oh my gosh. I had the best experience in my gap year. I worked in the emergency room and I learned so much. And it's so atypical for a pre-farm. Like, the most atypical position ever. But yeah, all my coworkers were pre-nursing, pre-med, pre-PA. So I was kind of a sore thumb, but I learned so much about pharmacy and not just medicine. So, like now I'm in classes where they're like, yeah, this is used for this. Has anyone, experienced this? And I'm like, oh yeah, like I totally know that this heparin drip is for this because I had a patient that did this. Or yeah, I know what TPA is for because we ran stroke alerts all the time or we had code blues. So I learned a different side of pharmacy aside from, the typical retail position. And I can actually compare that because I actually do work in a retail pharmacy now. So it's a completely different experience that I got learning about, IV antibiotics or like, drugs a lot stronger than what people know about like morphine and stuff, or rapid intubations and stuff, and the pharmacist role in all of these emergency situations. And like the best part was like just connecting with our two emergency room pharmacists. So going into my position, I had no idea that there was emergency room pharmacists. Like I knew oncology, I knew critical care, and I believe, infectious diseases. So my first day I walked in, and my first shift, actually, I had a code blue by myself. It was my yeah, my
Oh.
first shift alone. I had a code blue, and I was like, "Oh, great! Yeah, let's just start this off like this." All
I know the things that excite
right,
medical
right. I
professionals.
was just like, "Great!" I literally just finished my training. Like I was like, "La la 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 la," gonna have a good day. Some abdominal pain, and I first patient code blue. I was like, "Great." And I just happened to our ER pharmacist came down and, just the way he controlled everything and the way he was so valued by every single person during that code, and just the value of the ER pharmacist, no matter what was going on, they use them for everything. And I felt I was so in awe and I loved it so much. I learned every single shift, not just pharmacy, but even medicine, the physicians that I worked for, they would still teach me, even though I was going to pharmacy school. They'd be like, yeah, this is a really good thing to know. Or like, you're probably more interested in this mechanism. So let's discuss that. It was a great learning opportunity. It wasn't just me going every day to work, although, some days were worse than the other, but I still learned so, so much. And it was just an awesome experience.
Oh, great, great. Now, you did mention that you are doing a dual degree with including public health into your time at pharmacy school. What made you choose doing two degrees at once?
I really think that maybe I was impaired at the time because now I'm regretting it. But I mean, it's great. I knew for sure after choosing public health as my major in undergrad that was the field for me. I was missing something because that's why I picked up my minor in chemistry, because I love the STEM field at the same time. And I wanted to incorporate both. And, you always hear that, medicine, you have to be a good physician, to be a good, dentist, to be anything, you have to be well-rounded. And for me personally, I felt like I would only be well-rounded if I continued to pursue public health. And so choosing a dual degree was not just about having all these letters behind my name, which I mean, I'm going to be so excited to be like, yes, I'm Dr. Rudi, MPH, PharmD, whatever, But I knew for sure that population health, community health, and disparities and just like the research that needs to be done, I want it to be there. I don't want it to just be some name in a research article. I really want to immerse myself in these populations that need help, that need access to medication, that need access to medicine. Being deployed with the United States Public Health Service, for emergencies and stuff like that to provide medications for, disasters and stuff. There's just so much I want to do. And public health and pharmacy just intersected at the same time, and just, all the stars aligned. And I just knew for sure I want to do a dual degree. I want to get my master's in public health, and I want to be a pharmacist. And so just from there, I started researching what I can do and where can I go and what schools have it. And luckily a school near my family had it. So I just applied.
Oh, great, great. Now, thank you so much for sharing your background and how you got to where you are. I know there are so many different paths that people can take. And so I just want the audience to understand that there's no just one strict path on how you can get to your
100%.
destination or how you can
Yes,
get to pharmacy school. Now,
I was just going to mention that, like in my
Go ahead.
class right now, I mean, we have students who are in their late 30s. This is their second career, so I love hearing everyone's like paths, like, cause I think my path is super, super abstract and like no one would ever go that route. And then, you meet someone, she was a lawyer, before she came to pharmacy school, or a person in my TBL group, he worked in finance for years and then decided to come to pharmacy school. So everyone's path is so different and everyone's timeline is different. I think that's the like most important thing is like, we're all in different timelines. It's okay if someone goes to school straight out of high school or straight out of college, but it's also okay if you want to take a gap year or take 10 years. So just like go at your pace, like, and take your route, because your route is what matters.
Good, thank you. Now you do share a lot on your blog and your Instagram regarding like tips for the application process and things like that. Can you leave our audience with just some tips for our pre-pharmacy students on just the application process or the PCAT or anything that you'd like to share?
The best like unwritten rule is probably just to be yourself. I know a lot of people will talk about what is on their resume and what got them into school. And you can hear there's like not passion in those things. Either there's not passion in that research project they did. It's not passion in, the 500 volunteer hours they did. And so I would say just truly be unapologetically you. And when you're writing your personal statement, put yourself in it and don't just do things and write about things that you don't necessarily care about. Because when you come to your interview and you're not yourself and you don't have that passion in your voice or in your eyes when they're asking you about those things you wrote about, I mean, that's not truly you. So just be yourself, be honest, and just show why you love this profession. If you truly love this profession because you're interested in finding, medications that literally cure, everything, like the fungus on someone's left toe that they get. If that is why you're interested in it, write about it, talk about it. If you have a true experience, like near-death experience or, something that happened in your family, and that is why you chose to do this, talk about it, give your left kidney in that personal statement and write about it. But just be yourself. I know a lot of people will go out and do a lot of different things just to put on the resume, just to write about. And if you're not passionate about it, then it will show. Like I love volunteering. I love going into the community and doing things. So when I wrote about that and they asked me about it on my interview and they saw the passion, they know that's Rudi. I'm going to remember this girl because she was so happy about this. So just make sure you're being honest, you're being yourself, you're being true to you, and just, you've got it. I mean, they've already picked you as a perfect candidate. So just go in there and sell it and just be yourself.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, for being our first guest on the podcast. And please
Yeah,
let the audience know where they
I've
can
got an
connect with you.
Instagram for my blog. It's called Rudes in the Pharmacy, RUUDS _ in the pharmacy. From there, you can hit on my links and go to my website, where you can check out my blog and all the videos I've done and everything regarding, the application process and my life in school.
Thank you. So I would like to thank Rudi again for being our first guest on the podcast and sharing such great information with our audience. And if you would like to be a guest on our show, please contact us at podcast@crackpcat.com. Also, if there are any topics or anything you'd like us to talk about on the show, please make sure to send those in as well. You can also find us on Spotify and everywhere that podcasts are available. Just look up PCAT and Pre-Pharmacy Podcast, and you'll be able to find us. So I look forward to talking to you guys in the next episode.